Call this resource meeting to order at 4:45. Frank, would you do the prayer,
We
please?
shall stand. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for giving us the opportunity again, Lord, to serve the Cherokee people. We ask you, God, to guide and direct this meeting and to see us through the next one. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Shall would you do the roll call, please?
Curtis Snell,
Here.
Ricky Hargis,
Present.
Jack Baker,
Here.
Harley Buzzard,
Here.
Joe Berg, Juliet Coates, Sheila, Joe Fulbright,
Present.
Don Garvin, Tyler Corey Jordan, Lee Keener,
Call me.
Dick Lay,
Here.
Janice Taylor,
Here.
David Thornton,
Behind me.
Victoria Vesquez,
Aye.
David Walkenstick, Kara Callan Watts, John Masters. We do have a quorum.
Okay, I would like approval of the December the 15th regular session meeting, please.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on down to reports, management resources. Bruce Davis.
Bruce just asked me to sit in for him. So, y'all have his report, I hope, and I'll try to answer any questions. If not, we'll get them answered.
Anybody,
You might be lucky.
I mean, I just found out a minute ago.
anybody have any questions for David? Yes.
Just a couple of questions here. David, on the clinic there at Jay, I know we moved the opening back to May. Is that what's the reason for this? Weather or?
Yeah, Jay's always, they really haven't been moved back much. Weather has been their problem since the start.
I know.
We've had a little problem with our, one of our contractors, manpower issues with him. But, you know, weather is their biggest, has been their biggest problem.
And I have one more concern, and I'm sorry, I just haven't been able to make those Wednesday meetings up there. I know they did we're gonna do a contract with the city of Jay to run
To finish
Forest
up.
Main.
Yeah.
And I'd asked the guys in charge of it, I said, you need to get that to the city of Jay as soon as possible. Because if you wait till January and expect that to be finished by March, it's not gonna happen, because they don't move it. So
Okay.
if you would, just
follow
follow up on it and make sure they get that contract over and get an MOA signed, because
Yeah.
without that sign, we don't have any way to push them along. So if you'd follow up on that, I'd appreciate it.
I sure will, and I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Yes, Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just for clarification, Bruce is the Director of Management Resources?
He's the executive director.
Executive Director.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, and Deputy Executive Director of Education.
Education, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any more questions for
Can I
David?
do that?
Yes, all right.
We're gonna have a report by GV.
I don't know if he's on for today, but I'm
Well,
sure he can answer any questions.
The other thing that I was wanting to make sure that, with our gardening project there in Jay, I want to make sure we get some fruit trees planted in there this spring.
I know they've talked about it, and I'm sure he can give you a
GV, would you come up
follow-up
and
on it. Okay?
Okay. Good afternoon. Yes, Councilman, I got a list from Mark, 54 trees, different varieties, and we're in the process. So we were trying to get them bought at a price, you know, where we combine them all together and stuff. But our goal is to put the fence up another approximately 3 to 4 or 5 acres there. They got the hose dug and the water just hit us, and so we're trying to wait till the weather clears up toward next week, hopefully finish the fence that we got started, chain link fence, and then our goal is to buy the trees and put it into it. It's just something my budget hadn't foreseen, because it's really grown into a big project for us. And with South Salt Creek Park, of course, we don't spend no money there. We got funding there from the off to do that, but the gardening project is an add-on to my budget, and so we're trying to build security around the fence first before we get those trees. But yeah, our main goal this winter is to put the trees in.
And just a follow-up question on the greenhouse, are we still looking to maybe trying to get a
Yes,
greenhouse?
yes, we are. Yeah, he really wants one bad, and we got electricity and everything to that trailer up there, so now we're kind of waiting on the water and sewer to get there. So,
And on the budgeting now, there's gonna be some carryover money coming up pretty quickly, so I wanna make sure that you keep your eyes and ears open for that, because I
Okay.
think this gardening project, I think, is really gonna expand at some point in time, to make sure that we keep this thing funded so we can go.
well, I appreciate
And
it.
move to other areas, because I think it's a good thing for everybody. The people coming to our new clinics, be able to pick up some fresh vegetables, fruits and stuff like that, so.
I think he
I
served
think it's a
over
wonderful idea.
180 families last year, so, I mean, with the growth and expansion, you know, we'll be able to triple that probably.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Garvin?
Can you tell us about Blue Ribbon Downs? Are y'all in charge of that, or is that?
No, we're not. That's CMB is, we're not in charge. Oh, we don't have anything to do with that. Basically, I run down there every now and then. If Tom gives me a call and asks me to go down there and check something out, Tom Duncan. And had a call a couple days ago from some people who had horses there stabled at the track, and they were kind of wanting to know who's in charge. In fact, I think they terminated the contract with the people who had it leased for a year, and so they got a new contractor running the show down there, and I don't know who he is, and the trainers are trying to pay their rent to Cherokee Nation or to the leasee. So I called Tom and left word with him. I never got a call back, but I don't have anything to do. We're talking about maybe putting buffalo over there next to I-40. There's 55 acres fenced off there, and it's a brand new fence. They put a brand new fence all the way around it, so it's really cleaned it up. Really looks good.
So it's not in Cherokee Nation, it's CMB.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have they agreed to the buffalo situation?
Tentative. Yes, I've talked. They were aware of it and everything, and they've been several people kind of wanting them down there. And when I say
A lot
people,
of people wants to look at them, and they're wondering, to go to Bull Hollow, would they see them? Are they out?
yes, they're out.
Still
Yeah,
with
they're still in the 66-acre track, and you can see them, and you can drive through there too. If you're up there with Trent and some of the personnel there, they'd be more happy to drive you through there. They're that safe. I mean, they're real docile. I mean, they're just.
I've seen them, I've been there, but they just wondering about it.
Bought some signs to put up on 412, and then off of Kenwood Road and off the new blacktop, going north out of Little Kansas, and run into a big problem with 412. It's a scenic highway, and they will not let me put no signs up there on 412. So.
Are you expecting any babies really soon?
I don't, yes, I'd say in the springtime we'll probably have some, because I know that some of them's bound to be bred. I mean, plenty of bulls and plenty of cows, and it's just nature. Don't hold me to it. I know they're all vaccinated and free of brucellosis, and their age is correct, but you know, they didn't
None of them
test them.
showing?
Yeah, oh yes, yeah, some of them bagged up. Yes, they are. Yeah, I look for us to have some, you know, in the springtime, maybe before then. Sure do.
Thank you, Billy.
You'll know
Thank you,
when we
Mr.
have the
Rubin.
first one, I promise you. I mean,
Okay.
Councilman Keener?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You gonna unload all our bales of hay this year?
well, I hope so. We had a realty meeting last Wednesday, and so we had the hay price at $25 a bale, and we agreed to come down to $20 a bale. And if they took over 100 bales, they get it for $15. So yes, today my phone's rang off the wall. I think I sold 400 bales so far today. You know, 100 a time. So I was in here a while ago and I sold 100 bales. The guy called, won't make sure he's on the list, and I said, well, we got about 1,700 bales, so no problem. I mean,
Okay.
so we probably have sold around 600 to 700 bales, and we're going to retain approximately 500 to 600 bales for us. The buffalo are eating between 10 and 12 bales right now. With the weather the way it is, if it doubles up and it rains and freezes and snows, then we'll probably double that capacity. And the cubes is something that they never tasted before. They always been on the range up there in the Badlands, and the cubes, and protein blocks, and the mineral blocks, and salt. Their first couple weeks, they just walk right by it, and then they are starting to nibble on the cubes. We are feeding them about 100 pounds a day, those 50 heads. So it's starting to turn around, and I think they become bison instead of buffalo. That means bison is maintaining buffalo, and buffalo is wild buffalo. I mean, I've learned that and so forth. But anyway, they're starting to really, they're fat. They're really in good shape. Yeah, we've got them in time, and that grass, they never tasted that grass before either, so they just wore it out, and we got another about 160 acres. Right now, we're working on it every day. That's what the crew's doing, trying to fence that off where we can expand it almost to 225 acres or so. So that's on one tract of land up there. It has 1,122 acres, so we're taking the portion next to the barn. So.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Yes, there.
Okay. How many buffalo you plan on moving down there to Cherokee?
It's never been talked about or anything. It won't be a large amount. It won't be over 10 head probably. It's just been talked about and asked about and thrown around. Nothing concrete. It's a real pretty site off I-40. They've really cleaned up the holes and everything and got rid of the barns, and they really have made the raceway a really nice place to look at, a nice place to visit. And they're just under new management starting the first of the year, and so nobody's worked the track, and so some of the concerns that was forwarded to me, and I passed them on to Tom, and I think he got them taken care of. I hadn't heard no more from any of the renters down there, so I think everything's fine. But I do know a lot of the guys. That's why they talked to me. I mean,
I think that track in Park was during the freezing. It left clods there.
Yeah. Somebody needs to know what they're doing to do it. Those horses are valuable, and if it cripple them, they're run.
BRD, I think, Will Rogers Downs is going to send somebody down there to run that, I believe.
That'd be good.
Their people. C&B is what I hear is over that. So, and did you say C&B thought it was all right to put buffalo in there?
Yeah, I even addressed it to Tom. I mean, I didn't talk to Sean, but I did talk to Tom, and he says, it's got a new fence around it. And he said, I think it'd be a pretty place to put them. We'll sure try anything. They got 55 acres between that and the racetrack.
Any liability out there?
Well, I'm sure there'd be liability. I mean,
I'm sure those cars running up and down that I-40 look over there and run off the road.
They put a brand new hog wire, 2 barbed wire fence on I-40. It's a really nice fence. I was down there last week. We'd have to put the extension just like we did up there, and so forth. But we haven't lost one up there at Kenwood. One got out the second week it was there, and that was because we had the hay stacked around the pins, and they got between the pins and the barbed wire, and there's only about 4 foot there. And we had a bale of hay, so it was just about probably, 18, 20 inches for the buffalo to go through there. And we found a lot of there's 2 young bulls had hay net all over their horns. And the female, she got pushed through the fence. And we never found the wire. It was just a loose wire. We found the hair on the wire where she fell through. And we drove her right down the fence to the gate. And she never tried to do anything. She so she's a young one. So, I mean, could have been wild. But we do have dart guns available. We got one there, and I got one in the. I know you're not supposed to carry a rifle. It's not a rifle, but it's a dart gun. But we do have means to maintain them and we also have some personnel stand by to gather them if there was to get out. But right now they're really, really gentle. They may get mean whenever they start in mating season and calving season. But right now, the one mean one we had finally got back with the group, and the Teddy Roosevelt buffalo out of North Dakota and South Dakota buffalo, those 12 and 38 starting to mingle up and starting, really the green tag come from Teddy Roosevelt, there's 12 of those, and the other 38 got the other tags. So that's how you tell them apart, green and red. But they're starting to mingle and mix, and I think we got a good, it's really good. I'm really proud of it. I mean, it's everybody drives by. We have a lot of drive-by, and like we're putting the sign up, 4x8 sign this week, and then we'll put on the Kenwood and that new Blacktop Road, we'll put the turn, there. But the 412, I am gonna have to do some talking to that scenic river because they can't see the scenic road if there's the signs up. What you told
Now,
me.
are there going to be a fence? There'll be a fence in between the track and where we're keeping them.
Oh yeah, right now they have a chain link fence that's 6 foot all the way around back to the highway.
Yeah.
And then on the highway they got that barbed wire. I mean the hog wire and 2 barbed wire on the highway side. And we'd have to reinforce the hog wire because it's just got aluminum ties, and those buffalo, we could kick it loose probably ourselves if we got against it, And the poles are only a little, I mean, it's not heavy duty frame type fence. We'd have to go back in there and fix a nice fence. But it's just been talked about. It's nothing, it's been talked about. I was even talking about bringing them here, before. So it was just talked about, Yeah. Those things can die real fast. And so it's, right now they're safe and secure at Kenwood, and that's where I want to leave them.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions for David? GV? Thank you, man. Good report.
Thank y'all.
Next, we have Real Estate Services, Ginger Brown.
Good afternoon. You have my report in front of you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Have any questions for Ginger? Yes.
Ginger, did we get everything taken care of with Charles Stillwell and that situation of the land there?
Yes, it's in the process of it still.
All right, thank you.
Ginger, up on Tag Flats where we need the green box. I talked to you a little bit about that one time. Can we, they're ready now that, they got the new commissioner in, and he talked with his money people. They said, yeah, we got funds to pay the rent on the boxes and stuff. We'll pay for the pickup,
Who will be picking them up?
the county.
Okay. Is it the whole matter of can we place them on that property? Is
Right,
that the
yeah.
question? We didn't see any problem with it. We just wanted to know who was going to be maintaining them.
Now I can set up a meeting with some of them guys that's, over that program, and they can come to here, or we can meet them up
Okay,
there. So.
that would be fine. We'll be happy to go to them.
Okay.
And even meet out there at the site where they want to put
Right,
those.
yeah.
That's fine.
Mhm.
Just get with me and we'll do that. And I'll set up a time.
I'll get us a time set up and I'll
Okay.
get back with you.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks.
Any more questions for Ginger?
Just a comment.
Comment. Yes.
Ginger represents, of course, the tribe at our intertribal, and we just came from one there in Tulsa, and her and Jamie Hothouse attended the Arkansas Riverbed Authority, which, Speaker, you were part of at one time. I just want to commend you and your staff for really protecting our assets there. You guys have come a long ways in the riverbed and the resources that we still have there. So,
Thank you. I have a
Good
wonderful
job.
staff.
Yes.
Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any more questions for Ginger? Yes, Harley.
Ginger, we brought up last month or the month before about those buildings up there at the Shilanko. What is the status of those buildings? The last time we took a tour up there, they were just falling in. And
As far as those buildings, I know that I brought something on that, actually. The Council of Confederated Shilanko Tribes is who has, those 5 tribes is who has control over the buildings and the upkeep of the buildings. That's the Kaw, Otoe, Missouri, Pawnee, Ponca, and Tonkawa. And we don't have any, I think there's certain stipulations that would have to happen before the Cherokee Nation went in and had any ownership around those buildings, those
so we
particular
don't have
buildings.
ownership around, okay.
No. the only, if I might add, all the 6 tribes share the mineral interest on the trust lands, and the Cherokees have 50% on that share. They have 50%, and the other 5 tribes that I just named each have 10%, and that's how the 100% is derived, and that's just on the mineral interest. Just FYI.
Has there been any movement on the wind farm project at all up there, or is it just dead in the water?
There hasn't been, to my knowledge, but, and my apologies, because I didn't get with Elizabeth Odell, she, from the AG's office, she had been working on it, and I will make sure we have a report for you next. But as far as I know, there has not been any, no, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any more questions for Ginger? Good report, Ginger.
Thank you.
Next in line is environmental programs. Tom Elkins.
Good afternoon. I think you have our report. Might add just a couple things that I know on the report the speaker has asked us to delineate which programs or properties we're working with realty and all for trust, and those are delineated at the bottom of the second page. And then one thing that happened since the report was turned in, that as Chief Burt said, the intertribal occurred this last week, and we presented a resolution to the environmental committee, and then it went to the full committee about we'd like to further self-governance programs and take the next step and get that into the Environmental Protection Agency. Now, there's no legislation for that. There's even questions on whether they can do that. We've asked to do a pilot project with them. And I've explained this to the council many times. The money we get from the Environmental Protection Agency is very segregated and very earmarked. So money that we get to do underground storage tank work, we can't use that for anything else. And my opinion is that we've taken self-governance programs through Indian Health Service and the BIA to the point that we are the people, this government is the group that chooses what's best, the highest and best use of that money. And we ought to be able to do that with the EPA funds too. We get a lot of money, I say a lot, we get some money for things that we probably really don't even care about doing. But if we looked at and maybe had a committee at the Cherokee Nation that said, okay, we're going to get $3.5 million from the EPA or something, what would the tribe want to use the majority of that money for? And then what would be the next best use after that? I mean, certainly water is very important to us. Ambient air monitoring, we do quite a bit of that, but we do quite a bit of that because there's money to do that. I'm not saying it's not important to us, but maybe solid waste and cleaning up trash dumps is very important to us. I know a lot of the tribal citizens, when we clean up dumps and fence that off, they think that's great. And so that's something that actually, it looks like something's really getting done. And if we could get money like that, I think that would be very advantageous for us. We could do what's most important for the Cherokee people. And so we ran a resolution through the intertribal that saying that we support looking into a pilot project and or just working with tribes to implement legislation for self-governance activities under the EPA. And what we'd like to do is further that and go to NCAI with it. I know we're working with government relations on a letter from the chief to the EPA administrator saying that we believe this is a good concept and we think tribes support it. How many times do you hear the president or anybody out of Washington saying that the best government is local government? Well, we are that local government. We know our people better than anyone else and what's best for us as a government. And I really think giving us the latitude to spend that money the way that we believe is most important is the best way to go with that. And so with the council's support, we'd like to push that just as far as we can. And I want to keep that at EPA in front of them constantly. I've heard people say, well, you know, there's no legislation for that. That may take years to do. And I think, well, you know, we can look back 10 years from now and say, well, we got nothing done with that. Or we can look back 10 years from now and say, you know, we've made strides at that, and next week that's going to happen. But I know 10 years from now, if we don't start now, it's not going to be working there then. So I've instructed all of our people to, whenever they meet with EPA people, I want that put in there in the discussions that we have. Doesn't matter what we're doing, whether it's clean air, clean water, or anything else. I want them to talk about how good self-governance has worked for all Indian tribes that try to do it, and then especially so for the Cherokee Nation.
What do we need to do, Tom? What do we need to do to help you?
Well, you know, I don't know if the timing is right now, but certainly at some point I would like a resolution from the Cherokee Nation as well. But I don't want to flood them with resolutions, but I certainly want to do, we've got the one from the Intertribal. I want to do it from the Cherokee Nation, maybe with a letter from the chief. And then certainly we want to do that NCAI too. And I just want to keep pressure on them to, you know, if they won't do this, why won't they do this? I've heard people say, well, you know, we don't even know if we can do that legally. Well, they didn't know they could do it with BIA funds. And there had to be legislation written for that. So we just have to keep pushing them until they do this.
Well, keep us updated. We can kind of push the cart along with something, maybe.
I'll certainly do that. I'll certainly do that. And we'll be working with the DC office and anybody we can to get that point across to the EPA.
Any more questions for Tom?
Good report, Tom.
Thank you, sir. Good report. Moving on down to old business, I see no old business. New business, 15003, Janice Taylor.
Yes, this is a resolution authorizing a business lease on trust land in Rogers County, and I move for its approval.
Second. And Mr. Chair, I understood I was the sponsor of this because it sits in my district, so please add me as a sponsor.
Okay.
It's physically in my district. Thank you.
Do we have a discussion on this question? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Passes. Moving on down to 15004, Mr. Dick Way.
The resolution authorizing business lease on trust land in Kay County, Oklahoma. Move for its approval.
I'll second.
We have a discussion.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Dick, do you know what it is out there in Kay County?
Do I know what?
Do you know what property this is?
This is probably, Ginger probably should answer.
Is this a part of it up there?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's part of that 1,333 acres that are in trust, that's in
Okay.
trust.
How many acres?
We have 1333 that's in trust on the east part of the Shalako.
This
And
will
it's
be
part
next
of-
to the highway.
Yes.
Okay, next to the highway then, okay.
Uh-huh.
Know where it is.
What will they use it for?
It's 4 weeks out of the year. It's for TNT fireworks. It's for fireworks.
Just don't burn the rest of our deal.
Yes, Councilman Keener.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And both these this one and the previous were renewals.
Yes, they were.
Correct.
Uh-huh. And they are they're insured for $1 million each, just by the way. We require that.
Call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on down to 15005, Janelle Fulbright.
Yes, thank you. This is a resolution opposing the establishment of an energy line route by the Plains and Eastern Plain Line in Sequoyah County, Oklahoma, located within the Cherokee Nation jurisdictional area. It's sponsored by me at this time, and several other counselors have told me they wanted to be added as a sponsor, but we'll do that later. And I just want to make a general statement about this. I have attended some of their meetings, and this line is going, supposedly, the main route is supposed to go about 2 miles from my house. Not because it's 2 miles from my house. The more I got involved in the background of it and looking at it, then they have an alternate route about 5 miles north through Sequoyah County. But this is a huge family enterprise, private, to make money for an individual group of investors. They've invested several $100 billion out of Texas. The wind turbines are out in western Oklahoma. They want to transfer it to Tennessee. And there's several reasons I'm against it. One of them, the towers, these metal towers, are 200 feet tall. And they're quite a ways apart, and the swag comes down within 34 feet of the ground. And they were able to obtain, some district judge gave them public utility status, although they are a private company, and they could take your property by right of eminent domain. And they hired different lobbyists and their people from their group to go out and contact landowners. And when I went to the meeting at the courthouse, they said they had discharged some of their agents that had been rude to people and using strong-arm tactics, saying, well, you can either sign or not sign. You know, we're going to get eminent domain and we're coming through. And the school superintendents were against it. The county commissioners are getting a resolution. They're all against it. And one of the main reasons is it's going right along the designated Trail of Tears that our historical club had put up a marker over on Highway 59. And the people that spoke at the meeting at the courthouse said that their land was designated Trail of Tears and it was going to go right through it. Well, they chose this property because it's pasture land mainly. And they'll take a 200-foot width strip of your land and clear cut it, use pesticides, herbicides, whatever. Your cattle will be able to graze there, and you could still use it, but it's going within 200 feet of people's backyards. So naturally, there's like 800 people in Sequoyah County have signed a petition against it. And I talked to the school superintendent, Salisaw, and he was very much against it. He said 12.5 miles of it was in his district, and he's afraid after a few years they will ask for tax exemption. And we don't feel like it's putting any jobs in Sequoyah County. They're just passing through eastern Oklahoma, going through Arkansas, Missouri, and on down to Tennessee. And they don't have the full, the go-ahead on all these places, and they have to have backup power somewhere along the way. They haven't figured that out either, because they had tried to get backup power at the nuclear plant at Russellville, and they told them no. So this is supposed to be clean energy, and I'm all for clean energy, but a lot of people have, a lot smarter than me, have researched all this, and they said actually they've been working on this for several years. It's actually outdated. And most of the lines that are up already are in Russia and China, and there's one, I think, on the West Coast. And there's just a myriad of reasons why I am against it. And I would like to defer to my counselor, Jack Baker. He has researched it quite a bit, and let him speak to just give us some background, general knowledge about it, what he knows about it.
I know that the appearance will adversely affect the Chocolatiers National Historic Trail. And I know I've talked with the superintendent of the long distance trail system in Santa Fe, and he has written a letter in opposition to this because it will not only adversely affect the Chocolatiers in part of Oklahoma, but in most of Arkansas. If it goes across Arkansas, it'll be a large amount affected there. And at the Intertribal Council last week in the Cultural Committee, they discussed this, being opposed to it. And Tuesday and Wednesday this week, tomorrow and the next day, there'll be the Section 106 hearings in Norman for the tribes to give their input on this. And I know there'll be several representatives from the 5 tribes. I'm hoping we'll have someone from the Cherokee Nation there also at this meeting. So I was going to ask Bruce if he knew of someone who were going to attend. Dr. Sly just forwarded the information on the meeting to me.
Do we have anybody that you know of was lined up to go?
No. I don't know if Dr. Sly's going or Pat Gwynn. I know there was a discussion on that, but I don't know whether they're going or not. So we probably should check with the chief's office or administration and see if we can have someone there in opposition. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I would be interested in hearing from the staff because from what I understand, because it's a $500 million impact for Rogers County alone for one business that's worked with the nation, tried to do outreach as far as I know. But, you know, our Trail of Tears and the grounds are priceless. So there's no, you know, amount of money put on that, but I don't understand that it actually is the case. So I would like to see the maps and such before I can vote on it because I didn't realize till I read late last night what was going on. But the staff has known since March 2012, and they've been working with them. Clean Line Energy, and for this to just now be raised as an issue is kind of alarming if the staff have already been working with them and have met with them a number of times. So there's been a breakdown if our grounds are at risk or any of our historical cemeteries or historical cemeteries and the Trail of Tears. And the meeting is tomorrow in Norman.
Yes.
And there's a comment period for the Department of Energy open until I think March 15th for folks. I guess that'd be tribes and individuals. So I would like to understand, is it factual that it is impacting Stokes, I understand, the grounds there and any of our cemeteries and the trail? And then also why this is just now being raised and it took a political or public outcry rather than the work inside the staff arena. Because they've been given maps is what I understood, and they were supposed to be trying to overlay them, and how did it get to this point that we're at risk because it'll be eminent domain? And what does that mean? And I don't know if we have any protections under NEPA or NAGPRA or, you know, any of the, because this is alarming. So, sir.
Who, Ginger, did that come under your
You would think that we would be
scope?
notified, but I don't have any information on it. I have a couple of sources that I would go to find out, you know, see if anyone has, and maybe the Culture Center or GIS, TAPS GIS, if they've been working with them with the map. I can find out. I'll be happy
You
to find
would.
out.
Is this meeting tomorrow, is that a final vote or is that just discussion or what, you know?
No, it's not final, but it is for the tribes and all to be present for the Section 106. But there will be public hearings all during the month.
Will the 5 tribes be represented there?
Yeah, part of them will be
Okay.
tomorrow.
But we don't know about Cherokee Nation.
Right. I believe that Johnny Jacobs will be there tomorrow. And she had planned to last week.
Junior, Tom, you know what we need to do.
Yeah, Tom could say somebody.
Yeah, there's hearings in, Woodward, Guymon, There's one in Muskogee on February 2nd at 5 p.m.
That's better.
at the Muskogee Civic Center. There's also one at the Fort Smith Convention Center on Wednesday, February 18th.
Yes.
I put this in the form of a motion, and I hope everyone will vote for its approval.
I will second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Yes, Dick.
Go to full council tonight.
And I just had one or two questions, if I might. But when you say staff has been notified of this since 2012, who's staff? Cherokee Nation staff, or?
Yes.
And the thing at tomorrow, is that for tribal affiliations to show up?
Yes.
I wonder, well, we need to ask the admin if somebody's showing. So.
We could probably check with Tom Elkins there, could give us some. Can you send somebody or check on getting
I would
somebody?
probably just go if I need to go. I heard about the meeting. I didn't have any background on it, so I really didn't know. We are so big of an organization, one entity will contact one person over here and then maybe one person over here, and these two people don't get to talk because they don't know that they've been contacted by different people. And that's what happens here. I suspect that some people at the Nation, you know, we have a geodata center and natural resources, environmental, realty, and we all touch each other what we do, but we all don't do the same thing. And so unless we know that one of these other groups at the Nation has been talking to somebody and it's something we need to talk about, we just don't know.
Yes, Karen.
So according, I guess, to Clean Line Energy, the first meeting was March 9th, 2012, and they met with the Cherokee Nation Real Estate Office, and this would have been prior to Ginger. And they name who it is, and as well as our Arkansas Riverbed Authority person. And then there were 5 additional correspondence and or meetings.
So what?
What's your recommendation, Ginger?
I would be happy to talk to the executive director of the Arkansas Riverbed Authority, Charlie Robinson.
Yeah.
And I can call him and find out what's going on, if he's going to be attending it. And if so, if they had a meeting last week, he was probably in attendance at that meeting regarding this.
The person you succeeded was also named. Additional staff.
Okay.
Says there was a phone call in September with your office, though.
I went in October of 2012. I would be happy to call Mr. Robinson.
That would be good. He's very knowledgeable.
Yes, he is.
Okay, thank you, Junior.
Yeah, got a motion, second.
Got a motion and a second on this. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I'm gonna abstain.
Abstain?
And Councilor Thornton sent me an email requesting to be added as a sponsor.
Right.
And we want to go to main council tonight.
Any more would like to be added sponsors?
Yeah.
Not everybody.
Hold your hand up if you want to be a sponsor so that you can get your name. Everybody.
Care. I just want details before I actually vote on something.
We had the yes votes. We have any no votes? The motion passed, so, and this needs to go to council tonight. We're moving on down to announcements. Do I have announcements? I hear a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor? All opposed? Got one man opposed. Motion passed.